very sad news for the world. If you haven't heard, you probably have. David Bowie died at age 69 after fighting cancer.
18 months.
Yeah. I didn't even know that he was ill. No. That had been kept under wraps. He died with his family surrounding him. His son, Duncan Jones, tweeted about it last night and said that he would be going off Twitter, obviously, for a while. So our thoughts are with them. Want to spend some time... Look, to say icon, people throw that word around quite a little bit, but it's absolutely true in this case.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing about David Bowie is he crosses platforms. Like, there are a few artists in history who have quite taken as much of a chunk out of the music world, the movie world. Like, he's everywhere, and like he had such a huge impact. It's a really terrible loss. Absolutely,
it is. And what's insane and fascinating is that I told a very personal story to someone the other day about Ziggy Stardust, this moment that I had with Ziggy Stardust when I was a teenager, and I'll tell that to you later. And then 2 days later on Friday, my boss and I were talking about doing a piece about the best use of David Bowie songs in movies. Just happened to be talking about that. Yeah. And then 2 days later, he passed away. So what I wanted to do was sort of use that as a jumping off point and talk about sort of, and we can't nail this down, but some of our favorite David Bowie performances. He was also an actor.
Absolutely.
Use of his music in movies.
Well, I mean, we might as well start with the poster we got right here in the back. Yeah. I mean, which not only the amazing song, the theme for Cat People, but I also, when I think about that song, I also now think about Quentin Tarantino's use of it in Inglourious Bastards. But I mean, the list continues on. There's so many iconic songs that it's really, like you said, it's just, this conversation is massive. I mean, Life on Mars and Life Aquatic. Yeah. I mean, Moon Age Daydream and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, Life on Mars on Life on Mars.
Yeah,
too.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and it's such a big category, and it's just every single thing he touched. Magic.
Yeah, and it's funny because we were sort of on IM last night just giving some of our favorites to each other, and it's endless. He's funny. He showed up on extras. I don't know if you remember, but he played Pontius Pilate
in Last Temptation of Christ.
Scorsese's The Last Temptation of Christ. He was in The Prestige, which is
Prestige as Tesla. Yeah, absolutely. I love that performance.
I love that performance.
And you have his cameo in Zoolander, which is even its own bit of perfection with his cheekbones that could cut steel. I mean, it's like the guy's presence throughout all of pop culture. I mean, my introduction to him was in Labyrinth as Jareth the Goblin King. I mean, for our generation, I think that's most of us. I mean, it's all over the place.
Well, I think that's the thing about Bowie is that I personally, and I think a lot of us, and this came up last night, can identify sort of iconic moments with him throughout my life. And my childhood, it was definitely the Goblin King and Labyrinth. But then in my teen years, you sort of discovered glam. I did. I discovered glam rock, and I loved it.
Sure.
And we were in a retro phase, and we kind of worshipped Bowie. I happen to love Todd Haynes' Velvet Goldmine. Not a lot of people like that movie, but it's based on Iggy Pop and David Bowie.
Right.
Loosely. Mm-hmm. Not that loosely, though, to be honest. It really is endless. You look at the collab, Bing Crosby.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The little drummer boy with Bing Crosby. I mean, you look at sort of, I know we're all over the place, and I can't help it.
On the way here, I was listening to If You're American with his collaboration with Nine Inch Nails. I mean, it's just the sound, it goes beyond words. It's really, there's an epicness to it that lends itself to film and mediums and other works. It's really just music that penetrates all different forms of media, and it's iconic, and we'll never forget him.
This is not America. I don't know if you ever saw The Falcon and the Snowman. It's it's a spy movie from the 80s that not a lot of people have seen, but I named that as one of the films that I thought his music was well used in. Yeah. On a personal level, again, I had this moment, and I'll write about this story later. I don't want to get into it in too much detail right now, but it was this moment where my friend and I had seen a film that really depressed us, and it sort of had a negative view on humanity. Mm-hmm. And we were sitting on our stoop in Brooklyn feeling really low. And this couple comes walking down the street, and they're singing Ziggy Stardust to each other. And they just stop in front of us singing the song. They stop in the middle of the song, and they go, "Good night, girls." And they're just beaming and happy, and they continue singing the song. And it was like a message from beyond. Because at that point, Bowie was a deity to us. And it was like I needed a light, and there it was. Yeah. In my film school days, I'm going to tell a film school story, and you can't
Go
stop
for it.
me.
No,
it's my
I'm
damn
all
show.
open. Go for this.
So I did this editing project where the whole point of my project was to show, and it's a very film school thing, that you can tell any story you want with editing, right? So I took outtakes, like behind-the-scene outtakes from the Temple of Doom and an extreme skiing documentary, and I cut them together to David Bowie music. And made it into a story that I swear to God.
But that's kind of what I was saying, is that there's something incredibly cinematic about, like, I mean, if you just the Ziggy Stardust days, I mean, like Starman, it's like these are there's stories within this music, and it reaches to a higher level on a certain.
He was a character.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
He created an entire character as himself in his own life, and then he brought them to the screen, and then he did it in its music. This is a performer that has shaped our cultural reality. I mean, I just gave a couple of personal examples. Yeah. But as a culture, I think that we're going to be talking about this for weeks. I want to hear...
No, I mean, I think David Bowie... We're not going to stop hearing David Bowie music and movies anytime soon. He will live on through the ages, I'm sure.
If you guys aren't familiar, I know it's oddly enough, I have a colleague who was not as familiar with David Bowie music other than Labyrinth. If you're not, you have so much good stuff ahead of you.
Seriously.
I would encourage you to just go on Twitter right now. People are tweeting out some of his music, and it is so expansive. He's done incredible collaborations that we even forget about. I tweeted out one that he did with Arcade Fire for Wake Up, and it is gorgeous. It will break your heart. It will make you cry. Obviously, we cannot forget Pressure, which is maybe one of the greatest songs ever created.
Maybe one of the songs I listened to more times in my childhood than any other, but I love
I listened to it about 200 times last night, and God damn it, Vanilla Ice.
Let's just keep him out of this.
Let's keep him out of this entirely. That's it. You guys, look, this has been an unwieldy conversation. We don't know. There's no way to say your favorite David Bowie performance and use of his music in movies, but those are just some of them. And our hearts are a little broken today. The world has suffered a big loss. Let us know your favorites in the comments below, or you can tweet at us.
For breaking entertainment news and more, follow @HitFix on Twitter or visit hitfix.com.